Welcome to part 15 of Don't Say Schwarzenegger, my story about surviving an attempted unaliving and the cover-up and corruption that ensued. Lots of A-list celebrities, politicians, and their offspring are involved in this story. So today we are now on to probation violation number 2 of the men in my case. So now remember, this is like a year and a half after the incident that started all this, and this is less than a year after the conviction. So we are on 9/11/2017, I get an email from the amazing DDA, who had always been really asking the great questions in court and pushing hard, despite what his supervisors were doing behind closed doors. So I get an email from the DDA, and he lets us know that there was a surprise probation home search at the Three Driz's luxury Beverly Hills condo. And I'm talking luxury. It's one of the nicest Beverly Hills apartment complexes you can own a property in. It's huge, and it's really, 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 really nice. And they're indigent. But so there was a surprise probation search, and it was done by the Los Angeles high-risk GPS unit. They're not connected to our case. They're just an independent thing, and what they do in their day is they just pull up addresses on the computer, and they're like, oh, let's go surprise search this one. Let's go check it out, make sure the felons are in compliance. That's all it is. So they happened to pop into the Driz's Beverly Hills luxury condo on September 6th, 2017. So this is like 5 days later, we're finding out what happened. And the email says from the DDA, he says there's a surprise home search. And this is what the GPS unit, plus there was 6 officers from the Beverly Hills Police Department. So there's a ton of uniforms witnessing all of this. They go into their 3 bedrooms that this is the house, remember, this is the address that Shawn, Maurice, and Alberto gave as their primary home residence to probation. And if they lie about that, that's also a violation, okay? So they go into their home, and let's start with Shawn's room. One of the Drizzes was home, not all of them. One of the twins, I forget which one, doesn't matter. But one of the twins is home, and so they're like, you better show us which one's each bedroom, okay? And so he brings them to Shawn's room, and in Shawn's room, they find a huge duffel bag. And there's photos of this, by the way. A huge duffel bag full of green smoke stuff, which is illegal to have at this time, especially if you're on probation and you don't have a prescription, okay? So they don't have prescriptions for any of the stuff that I'm going to tell you about. So they find a huge duffel bag. So right there, that's a probation violation for Shawn Driz, a duffel bag in his room. Then they move to Maurice Driz's room. And in his room, they find paraphernalia to smoke the green stuff. I can't say a lot of words in this one, so bear with me for TikTok. So now we have Shawn Driz and Maurice Driz. These are probation violations if you have this on you and you're on probation. So then we get to Alberto's room, and it's the main room because I think this luxury place is in his name. He owns it. They go to Alberto's room, and in his nightstand, which is unlocked, and by the way, they also said all the doors in the rooms were unlocked, which meant all 3 felons had access to everything in each room. So that also is very important when proving this. In Alberto's room, in the nightstand next to his bed, they find a loaded, stolen, chambered pew-pew. And they find 7, can I say this word? The things that come out of a pew-pew that can hurt you badly. They find 7 of those. 1 is chambered. So this thing's ready to go. You can pick it up and you can do damage immediately. It's not safe. And it was a 25 caliber Beretta. I think they're small. So anyways, next to the loaded stolen pew-pew in Alberto's room, next to it, they find all these rolled up dollar bills with the illegal white powder that people ingest. So we're finding multiple different kinds of illegal stuff in the house. Okay, they find it. So they bring him outside, the twin, I forget which one, and they're like, okay. And then they catch him on his phone. They're like, you can't be on the phone right now because you can't call and warn people and stuff like that. You can't do that. And he's like, oh, okay. So while they're not looking, he does it anyways. And what this genius doesn't realize is that when he's sending a text, his phone repeats it out loud back to him. And so all of a sudden the police hear, I forget if it was Maurice or Alberto. Let's just say it's Maurice for just this moment. I'm not sure if it is, but they say, all of a sudden they hear his phone say, Maurice, hurry home quick. Probation is here. And so they hear it and they're like, what? We literally just told you not to do that. And he's like, oops. So 20 minutes later, the other twin, Maurice or Alberto, he comes in. So now there's 2 twins. The twins are there. Shawn's still not. He's just, which doesn't matter, by the way. Doesn't matter if you're not home while the probation search is going. Doesn't matter in any way whatsoever. Those are still violations. You don't have to be home to be caught. So the other twin comes home. All of the cops bring the twins out into the front lawn, and they're like arresting them, about to bring them to jail. And they're asking them about the pew-pew that they found in the nightstand. And both twins admit to it. This is all over the documentation in multiple stuff. They admitted to it while the police were there in front of all the police. And they said, yeah, we knew it was there, but it's a family heirloom. So, I mean, it's not like it's just a family heirloom. That's what they called it. Now remember that, okay? So they admit to the family heirloom, but then they're pretending not to know what the rolled up dollar bills with the white powder is, or what the huge duffel bag, which could be intent to sell depending on how much it is, because it's a huge amount. So the twins are arrested. Shawn never comes home during this search. The twins are arrested and they're brought to county jail, and they have to stay there until the hearing or the court date to talk about this, which is like in a couple of weeks. So that's great. 2 weeks to sit there and think about all the decisions they've made that have affected everybody's lives, which you know that they didn't use that time. Anyways. So the DDA tells us that there's going to be a hearing on October 2nd, which is 2 weeks out from now. And he says, and at this hearing, we're going to talk about the probation violation and all that stuff. And I said, okay, well, when are you going to just wait at the house for Shawn to come home? Because we know where Christina Schwarzenegger lives. You could just go there because he usually stays there a lot too. And they were like, no, he didn't get arrested. We'll explain that later. Wait, he didn't get kicked out of private fancy Seal Beach jail when he failed the breathalyzer? And they let him finish, and they didn't add time on or extend his probation, for the first probation violation. And they just found all of these illegal stuff that you smoke and snort and aim at things to hurt people, and none of this. So it'll be really interesting when I get to tell you why Shawn wasn't arrested and what happened at this next hearing, which we were told this hearing to deal with it will be on, again, October 2nd in a couple of weeks. So we're putting it in our calendars. We're going to show up, This is not what happened. I don't have enough time to cover it in this part, so I'm just going to do another part right now and cover it and post it. So thank you guys so much. It's about to get insane. Let me just make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Okay. Yeah, they were in jail. Maurice and Alberto were in custody without bail until October 2nd. That was the plan. Thank you, everybody, for all your support. We're now getting into the meat of it. And everybody who's been asking, why is Schwarzenegger in the title of your series? It's not because I think it's a great name that'll get me clicks. We're about to go into one of 4 times throughout these hearings where Schwarzenegger's name, and not just him, in the family, Schwarzenegger's name is brought up 4 times by the defendants and by multiple hand-picked judges while they're making unprecedentedly lenient decisions. That all starts in this next part. I hope to see you guys there. Okay.